Is this thing on? Hopefully it is. Hopefully this is the last video of the year. This is Magnus speaking. I'm going to try to do this with as little or no cuts as possible because I want it to be just one of those videos, just where I talk to you guys. So if you like camera videos, definitely consider subscribing. I like to talk about that stuff. Anyway, you clicked on this video because of the title or the thumbnail or a mixture of both. I have a relatively small YouTube community, but small, but to me it's like large. Over 2,000, almost 3,000 at this point. I think is an amazing thing to have because I've got a community that is pretty crazy. Now I'm gonna close up on the camera here and then back this up a little bit so I can fit in the frame a little bit more. So I appreciate everyone who's on my channel, and I do enjoy these videos and do enjoy making these videos for you. But that community is what makes me who I am and what makes me relevant. But also when it comes to that, you'd think, well, he's a YouTuber, of course he's gonna get a bunch of free cameras and free stuff. And quite honestly, look at the subscriber count. There's really no big companies that are really interested in giving me free gear or free any of that, because of the fact of my community is really niche to you guys if you've subscribed, and if you haven't, join. So since I'm so tailored to just you guys and not millions or even hundreds of thousands, my content is really geared towards you, but it's coming from the perspective of someone who's really doing his things on his own and really monetizing on his own. And that brings you back to my story and why this is my last video of the year and what I wanted to do for you guys. And what that is really tell you my story of how I went from nothing to having 1, 2, 3, 4, like a bunch of professional high-end cameras with little to no money. And let me start off by saying that I am not a financial expert, if you will. I do financial analysis in my day job, but I'm not here to give you financial recommendations. I'm just here to tell you my story and how I did it, and maybe something similar can help you guys. Now, my first camera that I ever purchased, and this was before YouTube channel or anything, was the Canon 6D. And the reason I'm telling you this stuff is because one of the most important things that matters is that you have drive to want to do something. And in particular, if you have drive to want to do camera work and work with video and work with that type of stuff, you gotta really invest in yourself. Now, how did I get from nothing to the Canon 6D? That's lesson number 1. Get a job, work. If you want to actually use this type of creation to either make money or further your own interests or become a YouTube creator, you gotta make money, you gotta make the job. Well, I only work at this or I only work at that. Well, yeah, there's only one way to really acquire this type of equipment, and that's getting work. Now, that could be one of many things. You can actually work a regular 9 to 5 or work wherever you can just to make that money to get your first camera. But you can also invest on maybe working with other people on their video stuff, or landing an opportunity, especially if you've already got the video creation talent. For example, someone asks, oh, can you film my wedding? I heard that you're great at video creation. And if you already have that knowledge to back you up, charge them a deposit. Charge them what you're going to charge them and make them pay for it before you plan to film their stuff. And that can actually pay for your first new camera. So that's how you get started. My first camera was the Canon 6D. And I bought this basically after that first step. Now, did I have an idea and say, hey, you know, I'll work for your wedding or something like that? No. I actually worked, saved up enough money, and bought the Canon 6D. And when I bought it, I did not have a video job or anything like that booked, and I didn't even know how to use a DSLR or mirrorless camera, even though mirrorless cameras were in their infancy at the time. This was probably like 2013 I bought this. This was slightly after the Canon 6D announced. It's got a full frame sensor, while recording. It records 1080p at 30 frames per second, 720p at 60 frames per second, no audio, and no dual pixel autofocus at all. Everything was manual focus on this when recording video, but it did the job. However, here's where I messed up. I lent this to a co-worker of mine, just someone who was like interested in cameras, and I basically forgot about it for like a year. That's right, I completely abandoned video. So then, that's not really helping you grow your channel, right? Or grow or get the cameras that you want, but that is a nice first step. When I decided to take my interest to the next level and say, hey, I want to create YouTube videos about cameras, I had purchased my second camera using a similar type of method, and that is, I'll pull it right here, that is the Samsung NX1. I started to realize that 4K was something that I was kind of like interested in and thought was pretty cool. And this camera could do 4K and it was mirrorless. So I thought, hey, you know, I like talking about cameras, and the NX1 had some pretty good capabilities, but I used debt to purchase the NX1. And I put it all on a credit card, and this was around $1,500 at the time. And I bought a couple of nice lenses with it as well, but it was all debt. Now that's something I recommend you don't do. But here's why I did it. Again, I had a full-time job to be able to pay it over time, and it technically would have cost me more money, but I had also booked camera-related jobs. Even though I was still learning how to use these type of cameras, I was booking jobs that would require that I actually have this type of camera. Some of these jobs earned me like $5,000 to $10,000. Was I super pro? Still learning, but having the guts to actually charge for my services and willing to work for the camera helped me clear that debt off pretty quickly. One awesome way that I recommend that you actually do that and actually learn to use these cameras is look up videos on YouTube. Yeah, there's Skillshare, yeah, there's a masterclass here and there for learning how to use these cameras, and they can be a lot more focused. But I, over time, learned through specific YouTube videos and searching up YouTube videos, like my channel here, to learn how to do that. Now, I'm actually recording a class to kind of help with these instructional videos, and I can give you a kind of more concise perspective on the average you and me, how you do it. Because again, less than 3,000 subscribers, and I've got a bunch of cameras. So you know my kind of skill works for anybody who's a regular you and me, and it doesn't have to be a huge creator like everyone else. Oh, it worked for me. I got 3 million subscribers. Well, no. It's nice it worked for you, but not everyone gets 3 million subscribers. What about the you and me? That's where I'm come to help and say, hey, it worked for me. It could have worked for you. Then I started going crazy and I bought the GH5. Under similar circumstances, 5D Mark IV, I purchased. All these cameras I start purchasing while creating debt-related purchases, but I had jobs to back them up. So I would wait, for example, if I had a job next month, I would actually purchase a camera that I want, that I know the job can cover, through credit, so that I have it before the project. I would get paid on the day of or next day, but I knew how much money I was making. Then that money would pay off the cameras. That's how I was able to acquire the cameras that I have in a case-by-case basis. Not only the cameras, but the work that I have. And then the knowledge that I gained off of YouTube and all that other stuff, I was able to, of course, monetize my YouTube channel after you guys supported me for a long enough time and buy the cameras that I wanted. And this type of relationship can then flourish. Now, I own enough Canon equipment to actually be part of their CPS membership, which gets me like protection against equipment that I drop or anything, but it also gave me the ability to request a camera that I can't yet afford and try it out before I buy, and then try it out for you guys, so before you buy it. Long story short, if you want these cameras, you're going to have to work for it, but the type of work that you do for it is up to you. And if you invest in the right cameras and work with the cameras to earn you money. The cameras can actually pay for themselves, and you don't have to be a big YouTube creator. And if you want to just do 1 or 2 jobs, get the camera you want, and then start creating YouTube videos and forget getting clients, that's all up to you. Now, how do you get these clients? That's really the last thing I want to touch about. Yeah, you talk about getting clients, but then getting those clients that'll pay that much, well, simple. You have social media, you have friends. People get married all the time. Just look for those type of people that you know that are willing to actually record those life moments. Life moments are actually one of the most lucrative ways of making money. I made money off the cameras recording life moments when it came to like dance recitals. How did I do that? Well, I went to a school and I was like, I see you have a video up there, and I actually had someone in that school. So it was just through someone I know. I said, hey, you do these videos, I can do it for you. I knew a friend who was getting married. I didn't say, let me record it for you. I said, hey, most people I know, and this is true, most people I know who have actually had weddings but only took photos regret not taking video, because photos don't tell the story of the day. Video would. Then when they come back and ask you, well, do you know anyone? Say, yes, I'll do it. And because you're just starting out, charge them a reasonable price, maybe just the price of what your camera costs, or maybe a little less, and then you pay for the rest of it, to make it more enticing for them to choose you to do the video so that you can afford your camera. And then of course, I would also recommend you do your research. Like I said, look up YouTube videos, really dive deep into what you can do for them so you don't overpromise and underdeliver. It's always best to underpromise and then overdeliver. So just do within your means of what you can, and you should have a happy client, and then you'll be owning a new camera, a new lens, and anything you want. But you do need to earn that money and work for it. So this is my last video of 2021. There's a lot of exciting things that will be happening next year. Like I said, I'm going to do a course, and I'll share that with you guys so I can actually teach you a lot more in depth on how I put all this stuff together and how I can really just monetize what I have and use my talents and then share those talents with you so that you can actually make money, even on YouTube, and get the equipment without actually breaking the bank, because that's what you got to really plan around. How do you acquire all this equipment without being a rich YouTuber who's like, hey, I just stumbled on every camera? Well, I didn't just stumble on every camera. I worked for it and I got it, and you can make it quickly happen for you. So let me know what that is. And one of the cameras I did want to mention is the R5C. Like I said, I've done videos on it before, so if you want to see that, check that out right here. I personally still don't need that camera, but we'll see what happens in the future. Till then, Happy New Year. And as always, you can make my day if you subscribe today. This is Magnus, and I'm out. See you guys later.